My name is Dominic Chambers, and I'm an artist working out of New Haven, Connecticut. The title of the exhibition, What Makes the Earth Shake, references James Baldwin's letter to his nephew in his book, The Fire Next Time. There's a paragraph in which Baldwin describes the conditions of Black life as being a product constructed by the white imagination. The phrase that Baldwin uses, one's sense of reality, stood out to me because surrealism is the only language efficient enough to describe the experiences of Black life. I'm also interested in the literary genre called magical realism, where the surreal and the magical is not only accepted, but it's an accepted part of one's relationship to the absurd, especially when a part of a community that is negotiating reality. The primary magic series depicts Black bodies in moments of leisure and rest. When looking at the historical narrative of the United States, our relationship to the Black body has been that of a labor force. We almost never think about the Black body as a subject capable of rest. Seeing a Black body in a moment of leisure is a surreal encounter. We recognize reading literature as a tool to describe wealth, power, and intellectual prowess. I want to make the Black subject an intellectual subject capable of spiritually nurturing themselves. In the painting Born in Night, Africanus, whose last name is Oko Khan, which means born in night, is depicted in a sea of black on the back side of the composition, behind a curtain-like veil. The rainbow in the painting is produced by a softer, more hazy-like medium, spray paint, because I'm interested in the relation between oil and acrylic and the vocabulary that different paintings have when living on the same surface together. The rainbow is meant to symbolize the bridging of possibilities with the Black imagination. The rainbow is in reference to a painting by Fra Angelico called The Annunciation. In that painting, the Annunciation angel comes to greet Mary. Everything in it is painted with grays, browns, and neutral colors and tones. But the wings of the angel is described with a rainbow, meant to symbolize the supernatural occurrence that is happening within that image. I also think a lot about the surfaces that the subjects of my paintings live on. I prime a lot of my surfaces with a knife, and it gives them a glass-like surface that's reminiscent of frescoes. I'm really interested in the history between the painting and its surface, and how the surface also carries a history to it. The painting also has a certain body as I excavate the surface with sandpaper or sanding-like methods. Another instance in which literature shows up in my work would be the Wash series, which are also part of the exhibition and make direct reference to W.E.B. Du Bois's book, The Souls of Black Folk. In the book, Du Bois described the idea of the veil. The veil is a metaphorical and social phenomenon in which a Black subject is seen through a metaphorical curtain, which makes reference to the description in our minds that we all have of who and what people are. For the Black subject, this script is outlined by racism, preconceived ideas about the Black subject and its narrative. The veiling experience is a social phenomenon. It's not a tactical one. It's not something you can physically hold. Through the language of painting and through magical realism, I can give it an image. Another body of work that I am debuting at this exhibition is a set of paintings in a new body of work called the Window series. I'm really concerned with the Black body's relationship to the window and what waits for us on the outside of our home. Is the exterior world one that is rife with trauma and detrimental to us? Is our interior a space of camaraderie and safety? My mother would oftentimes warn me about being in proximity to the window, recognizing that the stray bullet could enter and harm me. I wondered whether or not the Black body's relationship to the window is always a compromising one. Can that exterior place be a space for opportunity? The subject in the painting is myself, things I did over the course of the pandemic, looking out of the window, reading, and mourning the loss of two members of my family. So I started to think more about the magical opportunities between one's relationship to the internal and the external environment. I also paint a lot of subjects participating with books, reading, or engaging with an intellectual activity. Send It On, A Love Letter to Love, is a red color filled painting that depicts two subjects, one reading and one writing a letter. They're totally engrossed in their activities, unfrustrated by the world, by external pressures. I think about the power that color presents because I consider color to be a character. If I'm thinking about the color red or the color yellow, I'm expanding my relationship to that color in real time. There's an anthropomorphic white form that is a product of the subject's imagination. By engaging in moments of rest and leisure, the surreal and the magical can start to permeate and influence the reality around us. In the exhibition, there's also a poem titled What Makes the Earth Shake. The earth was shaking. I didn't notice. Overgrown blades of grass flattened against my back. Brushes with yellow tips were there, and something tickled my ear. Leaves rustled in concert, and shadows spotted the ground. My legs weren't as long as they are now, but when they crossed, I looked taller. For the first time, my shadow hugged me back. The earth was shaking. I still didn't notice. This poem also makes reference to the idea that Baldwin outlines in his letter to his nephew. The poem has a point to acknowledge, I did notice. This refusal to acknowledge that the earth is shaking around you because you're so engrossed in leisure and rest. You're completely unbothered. As the poem ends, I still didn't notice. You are the thing that's causing the earth to shake. That's what I wanted to outline with that particular work. None of the subjects in my paintings acknowledge the viewer. I hope that the viewer takes away from the exhibition, take time. I think that's really necessary for a lot of us, especially in the society that we live in. The set of contemporary concerns we're all negotiating, our relationship to time, leisure, and rest. I like creating works that constantly remind us that is something we're constantly negotiating. Time is something that we're in constant pursuit of. Like, I would like to see if a viewer is willing to give that kind of time to an object, because in turn, they're giving time for themselves. I like that relationship in which stillness and the intellectual activity of viewing coexist. I think that's really fascinating.
Dominic Chambers' work in the What Makes the Earth Shake exhibition is imbued with a spirit of restoration. It gives radical softness and power to ideas of Black leisure and intellectualism that are captured in these scenes that are both vivid and poetic. TEFRA ICA is so pleased to present Dominic Chambers' work and partner with institutions such as Howard University and American University in presenting special programming with and around the exhibition to provide an additional platform for audiences to encounter and engage with his practice. With literature being such an important touchstone in his work, Dominic Chambers truly marries the written with the visual, recontextualizing cultural narratives through the profound use of colors, layers, and imagined space. Each of these collective ideas make their way into his practice and, in result, provide rich points of entry to a sense of interconnectedness, a meeting of spirit, and tools for understanding.